Hey everyone. I'm sorry, I'm looking absolutely crazy, but I just went through from I just went on a run and I need to get this done. I was putting this video together and I realized my intro video either didn't save, I didn't record it, or got deleted somehow. So I'm refilming this after the socks are already done. So I do apologize. It's not as, fresh and like this is my true opinions of the sock. But this sock is round 5 for Sock Madness. It's the Báihuā socks, I believe is how you pronounce it, by Skein Charmer. And if you've been in the Sock Madness sphere for any length of time, you probably recognize the name Skein Charmer because they are a pretty regular designer. So this sock is knit toe up with an afterthought heel. It is cabled with bobbles. It's a very it just looks like a Skein Charmer sock. It's a very, very beautiful sock, and it is one size only. So there is a foot chart, a leg chart, an afterthought heel, and a recommended cuff length. And there's not really any wiggle room in that. I guess you could do the modifications yourself if you're not knitting this for a competition where you have to knit it to specifications, where you could stop the charts in different places. But that's something to be aware of if you do want to knit these socks. Skein Charmer socks are almost always like one size, where they're very, not pigeonhole, but like the charts dictate the size that it's going to be. So you have to be really cognizant of your needle size and how it's going to fit you. And if you have to do modifications, you really have to think about that on your own. So just be aware of that. So it's exactly like 24 hours later. And I have almost a complete sock. So it's kind of hard to show. Let me see if I can do it this way. It's an afterthought heel, so I do have this open, and I am on row 139 of 154. So I'm getting close. Obviously, not quite there, but probably another hour and a half of knitting until the cuff, and then the cuff. So this is what it's looking like. It is a toe up sock. The toe construction is a little interesting. It has almost spiraling increases where you do your knit front and back. So it creates this like line. I don't really know if you can see this, but so that's how you do your toe increases, and then you go straight into your mosaic knitting charts. It has these little, we'll call them nubs and bobbles. It's a one size pattern, so I'm just knitting 2 specifications. There's nothing you can change about the sock, and that's it. Like I said, I'm on row 139, and I'm gonna keep on getting it, and hopefully I'll get some B-roll, but I don't know, because I'm trying to get through this as quick as possible. I have plans on Friday, and I feel like to be able to go through to the next round, I'm going to have to be done by Friday. So I really need to kick my butt into gear and maybe just stay up really late tonight, get through this entire sock. I think I will just leave the heels for later because that's mindless knitting. So finish the sock minus the heel, cast on the right sock, and get through the foot chart. And if I can do that, I would feel pretty confident that I could then finish most of the leg on Thursday, probably the entirety of the leg, and then Friday morning, maybe do the heels. Because I can do that during my morning Friday meeting. I can knit a heel. It's just this is a very, very complex chart. So I have to stare at it and like while I'm knitting, and I'm not able to do that during meetings. So this is a lot of like, it's just not mindless knitting. Okay, I'll check back in. Bye. morning. It is the next day, and we have a whole sock minus the heel. And then I was able to get through the entirety of the foot last night. And then I just did, I don't know, 5 or 6 rows after the split for the heel. So my goal today is to get through the entire leg, which is pretty ambitious, but I'm going to try really hard. I have a light day at work today. I may take a half day and just focus on knitting. And I'll stay up pretty late tonight as well if I need to get through the leg. So then I only have to worry about the heels tomorrow. So I do think that I will unpick this heel today, this provisional cast on, because I've never done a provisional cast on like this where it's, so say that there's, I'll give you the numbers. Say there's 31 stitches across the back, and I provisionally cast on 16. So and I did yarn overs on the first row to make sure I got to the correct number of stitches for the back of the leg. I don't really know how I'm going to be picking those stitches up. Obviously, I'll have to read the instructions, but I'd like to do that, I think, today, just for some peace of mind. So that's the goal, to get through the entirety of the leg on the second sock and to pick up the heels with a DPN today. I completely forgot. So I did run into an issue with these socks, and that was completely my own fault because I read the instructions and was like, oh yeah, I know what this means, and I didn't actually know what it meant. So the instructions tell you to cast on with a circular cast on. And I was like, well, all cast ons are circular because you join them in the round. Yeah, no. So I started with Judy's Magic Cast On, knit the entirety of the sock, and then cast on a second one using the same method and was also wrong. It was only because someone commented on my last video that they used a pinhole cast on that I was like, I didn't do that. Uh-oh. So at least on the second sock, I was able to go back into the sock and actually edit the cast on so that it was circular. I just like pulled the yarn through those stitches. It's going to be a little bit harder on my first sock because I did knit a couple rounds with the tail, but I still think I'll be able to do it. So, yeah, so shout out to, I believe I pronounce it Anjali. If that is incorrect, please let me know in the comments and I will get it right next time. But shout out to you because you saved my socks. Seriously, like I thank you so much. Without reading that, I probably would have never noticed that I did it incorrectly. And I do like to submit my socks correct if I can. So you rock. Thank you. I'm gonna do this quick because I have to start work, but it's a strange heel, but and so now during my morning meeting, I should be able to finish this, do my pictures, submit, and then go do the thing I need to do this afternoon for Mother's Day. So I'll keep you posted. So let's roll into final thoughts, and I will show you what my socks look like. We'll talk about all of the struggles I had with the sock, because I really did struggle with it. So let me grab them. These are my finished socks. And I will give you a side profile because they are very, very beautiful. But let me pick the right sock to give you a side profile on. Because, well, actually it'll be the left sock, but the right sock for the profile. And that's because I knit my right sock incorrectly. So in this pattern, you knit a right and a left sock, and the cable crosses go right or left, which makes perfect sense. But when you are sleep deprived, stressed out at work, and not paying very good attention, you often miss that. So previously in this video, I let you guys know that I cast on my sock incorrectly. These are knit toe up, so I cast on using Judy's Magic Cast On and just autopilot. And the toe increases on this sock are very interesting. And I hope you can kind of see this line here. It's almost like a spiral. You do your, in here too, you do your knit front and back increases in a way that creates a either left leaning spiral or right leaning spiral, depending on which sock it is. So I was supposed to cast on using a circular cast on. I did not do that. I realized way too late. And because someone commented on my video, which saved me, and I do think I talked about that in the video as well. So I went back, I ripped out my cast on, so I just took my tail and I unpicked those stitches. And then once I had my 8 cast on stitches, I just threaded my needle through it and pulled. So it would be the same as you were doing any cast off and you're pulling your stitches through, like if you're doing a hat or even a top down sock with a circular cast off. And that's exactly what I did to get that circular. It's not necessarily a circular cast on, but it gives you a circular look. So it does follow the designer's intended cast on. And then you start your pattern. So you either have left or right crosses. And I realized pretty early, or not early at all, I was like all the way through my right sock and had started on the heel. And I was like looking at it and I was like, this cross up here is different from all of my other crosses. All the other crosses were running in the other direction. And so I decided, okay, well, no problem. I'll just not make it to the next round. And I posted in my, group that like I was finished with my sock. They were absolutely lovely, but I had done all my crosses incorrectly. And they were like, just duplicate stitch it. And I was like, that seems like cheating. And they're like, no, if you have time to knit both socks and fix it, you deserve to move on to the next round. So after work that day, I just sat down and I thought it was going to take forever. I have never duplicate stitched over a cable. I've always dropped down and fixed all my cables. But in this case, I would have had to drop to the very bottom of the sock and reknit it. And I wasn't going to do that. So I did. I just sat there and I duplicate stitched over every single cable. And to be perfectly honest, I'm not going to leave it like that because there's just, I'll show you, a ton of ends inside and they're pulling and there's no point in it like this. So I will just unpick these. So I will just unpick these when I go to like weave in all my ends and I know that I'm going to be done. But no, I'm doing it right now because I can't help myself. But yeah, so I'll take this out and it will just have the incorrect crosses for my final socks. But I did go ahead, I duplicate stitch over every single cable, and I got through to the next round. So I will be going to the final team round, and I'm very excited about it. So you've got your spiral increases on the toe, which I thought was really interesting. I've never seen that before. And you go into your chart, you knit your chart, it's helically knit, and then you put your stitches on hold for the foot, and you provisionally cast on for the leg. You actually only cast on 16 stitches, and I think I did mention this earlier in the video, and then you do yarn overs for the next row. I'm so sorry. I seem to have caught some sort of cold. I truly have never been this sick in my entire life. Like, not the way I feel, but like the frequency of getting sick this year has been like no other. I normally get sick maybe once a year, and I've been sick like 3 times already this year. So it's not been fun. Anyway, provisionally cast on, and then you do your yarn overs to get up to the correct number of stitches for the leg. Now I was like, I have no clue how that's going to work out for the heel, but those stitches were there. It was like magic. I was like, oh, this is really interesting, really cool. You work your leg chart, which is the same, and then you do your ribbing with a, I don't remember the name of this cast off, but it's when you do a yarn over and then a purl and cast off like that. It might be Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off and purl. I'm not 100% sure. I will put it on the screen. But anyway, that's this sock. Now, the heel was really interesting. So in the corners, it has you pick up a stitch right here with a crochet hook, which I could have done it with a needle, but I like the way that that was done. And then you kind of create a little gusset. I don't know if that's visible in the middle of your heel. So you start with less stitches, obviously, and then you increase out right in the middle. And I don't hate that at all. I think that that's really great for people that have a wide heel. For me personally, I don't need the extra stitches there. I didn't need this gusset. And so this fits very, like, it's very flared out. I also think that we needed to decrease quite a bit more stitches in this heel to make it fit properly, which I can always go back and unpick this Kitchener stitch and then take out maybe the last 2 gusset increases right here in the middle and then just decrease rapidly, and I think that it will fit me just fine. So that's really all of the strange or interesting knitting aspects to the sock. We do have dip stitches here and bobbles here. I think these socks are really lovely. I love this color personally. Like, this is one of my favorite colors. It is, oh, now it's gonna completely leave my mind. I know it's 29 Bridges sock, and I can't remember the color, but it will be on the screen. And then this cream color is the color I was trying to use last round. It is SweetGeorgia Tough Love sock in the color Birch. How would I rate this pattern? Now, this one's a hard one for me because generally I am very, very critical of designers that only design for one size. I think it's lazy. I think it's bad design. But that being said, Game Charmer does not charge for their designs, and they just donate them to Sock Madness. So I don't have any animosity towards this designer for doing that. They are donating their time, their energy, their creative and intellectual property to a competition for one size. And I don't have an issue with that. So I like this pattern. I think that there's some really interesting things going on in it. There's some interesting construction techniques, and I like it a lot. So I will give this pattern, I can't give it a 5 because it does come in only one size, but I will give it a 4.25, and I think it's worth a go. Now, these fit me. There's, I think, 68 stitches, and they fit me, and that's because I used a 2.5 millimeter needle. I knew that there was no way in heck I was getting this on my foot if I knit a 2.25. But I knit a 2.5. I kept a looser gauge than I normally do, just in general. Like, I kept a looser gauge. And it works out fine. They fit me. I will try and get some B-roll in here for y'all. And I think my execution was, besides the mistake I made with my crossed cables, I think my execution was great. Like, I really, really think I did a wonderful job for the time constraints. I think I knit these in like 3.5 days, and I don't know, it looks really great. So I'm really happy with these socks. I'm going to give myself a 4.5. I'm going to give myself a pat on the back. I really like these socks. And I obviously can't give myself a 5 because I did the crosses wrong and I did the cast on wrong. But if you received these socks from me, you would never know that. So 4.5 for these. I would knit this again. I would do some serious modifications. I would do a different heel because I do not like this heel and the way it fits my particular foot. But if you have a wider heel, I think this would really be great for you. And I would shorten this leg because I don't like a long leg on my socks. I would probably go like to like right where this is. And I think a rolled hem would just be adorable for this. But anyway, I really enjoyed this. I'm moving on to round 6. I have no clue if I'm going to vlog that because it's going to be really tough to win my team outright. We've got some really fast knitters on my team, and I love the competition. So thanks for hanging out with me. See you guys later. Bye.